So here's what's in the ZoomLock kit if you buy the whole package deal. You get quite a bit of stuff in here. You pretty much get everything to make all of your compressions. You got 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/4, 5/8, 3/8, 7/8, and then this big guy down here is 1 1/8. You also get the Makita battery charger, a couple batteries. You get this tool here to basically kind of check the depth of how far you're putting your copper into the fitting. You get some sand cloth, a little wire brush down here. They actually give you a pretty decent copper cutter here, and then also a deburring tool for the outside and the inside of the pipe. And then here's the tool itself, which is it's a pretty good little deal here. Very easy to use. After you use it a couple times, it's pretty much off to the races at that point. Here's a little easy step-by-step pamphlet that comes with the ZoomLock tool. The first one is cut with your tube cutter. They even supply a pretty good tube cutter with it. Don't use like a Sawzall or anything like that. Next would be deburr. It comes with a decent deburring tool. You want to deburr the inside and the outside of the pipe. Next is, it even comes with some sanding cloth, so just sand it and clean it up. You want to make sure you don't have any deep cuts or like stamps in the copper or anything like that. They also want you to go in a radial direction and not in a lengthwise when you're sanding it down. This is just a big thing when you're cutting the insulation off a pipe or anything like that. Make sure you don't have a deep groove cut into it with like a box knife or something like that. You really have to, this is like the main reason why you have leaks, is if you don't clean the pipe properly. Lastly, after you make your compression on the pipe, you just want to check for anything that's kind of obvious, that doesn't look right, any debris or anything like that that's in the fitting. Next, it comes with a little marking tool. You definitely should try to mark it with like a Sharpie on how deep the fitting needs to go onto the piece of pipe. You need to do this because the pipe will actually go in further, so you might have more pipe in on one side, say you're putting on a coupling, than the other. So just, I know it's kind of a tedious little thing to have to do extra, but I highly recommend making sure you're marking the pipe. If you follow these 5 steps, you probably won't have any leaks or any issues. Ever since I've been doing these, I follow these 5 steps and have had no leaks yet. Here's some of the ZoomLock fittings themselves. We have some 7/8 fittings. We have 45, 90 coupling. They make a variety of things. I know they have caps. They have the ZoomLock valves. You do have to use their specific ZoomLock fittings. You can't just buy some generic fitting. You do have to use all the ZoomLock fittings if you don't want to have any leaks. If you look inside, you can see there's a black gasket. That's once you make the compression around the fitting, that is part of what's making the seal. One of the big things you got to look for is that you don't have like dust or dirt. You really have to keep these things clean. They send a pretty nice box, you can see here, that keeps all the fittings in here. I would highly recommend keeping the stuff in the box if you buy it in bulk, just to help keep the fittings clean. And then the last thing, that if you do have a bad seal or anything like that, or a leak, you can't just braze it up afterwards, because you have that gasket in there that you're just going to melt it and get it all over inside the system and contaminate the inside of the system. So you really, if you have a bad one, you have to cut it out and start over fresh. So now I'm going to show you how to use the ZoomLock. As you can see, I've used my sand cloth, cleaned up the copper already. I've deburred the inside and the outside of the pipe at the end with my tool here. I took the measurer, put it on the pipe, and I've already marked how far in my coupling fitting needs to go. And then next, just slide this on here. I already pre-inspected the coupling to make sure there's no debris or anything like that in it. Everything looked good. Next I'm going to grab my tool. As you can see, it just has these jaws that open up. Let's try to get a better view and angle. You can see It's gonna sit right in there on the channel. You can see like the teeth, it just really, you know when you have it in the right spot, everything fits good. And then you just hit the trigger here, and it releases. And then you just, same way you got it on, you can see that it completely clamped around here. You just take this, release. This is exactly what you want to see when you have a good fitting. You can see that it has these two rings going around it. So honestly, if you want to save a bunch of time doing any of these ductless systems, whether it's a M series or a P series, Mitsubishi, Daikin, or any of the other brands, or any of these city multi-systems, it can save a tremendous amount of time, and you don't have to worry about brazing or anything like that, or fire watch or anything like that when you're on some of these bigger sites. I would highly recommend the ZoomLock. We've already done a couple city multi-systems and had no leaks whatsoever with it. I highly recommend the product of ZoomLock.